everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Busy Life Podcast. My name is Julie, and today I've got my lovely friend, Nikki Brown, with us. And we are going to talk about the ultimate goal of side hustling, reaching your goals, what it means to truly empower yourself to go after more than one thing. And I'm going to let Nikki introduce herself, but I want to tell you guys something. Nikki and I met because Nikki made the most beautiful cookies for my wedding. They were beautiful. They were delicious. She even gave me a free 6-pack to just try and check out my design. And I took them to the beach with me that weekend. I don't know if I ever told you this, but
no, you didn't.
I took them to the beach with me and I was like, guys, these are Nikki's cookies. And they are so good. And everyone was like, and you only got 6? I was like, well, I'm about to buy 160 of them. So
right, exactly. Everyone will still get one.
Yes, they were phenomenal. But that's not why I love Nikki. I love Nikki because her cookies are delicious, but I also love Nikki because she is determined. She is hardworking. She is so kind, and she represents women empowerment. So I'm going to let you now introduce yourself, but I had to give you that little intro.
I was like, I don't even know what to say now. That was the best intro ever. So to everyone listening, my name is Nikki. I'm actually a full-time teacher. And a few years ago, I started a side hustle baking business. So it's mostly decorated sugar cookies. There's also the big viral thick cookies going around, and I switch up those flavors all the time. And I'm just constantly looking to add new things and try new recipes and just keep growing.
Yay! What made you decide? Because you said you're a full-time teacher. Everybody who listens to this podcast knows that I'm also a teacher. What sparked the baking interest? Because us teachers don't have much free time. We are
Right,
tight.
exactly.
And to bake sometimes sounds exhausting. To come home and have to do all of that, that's hard. But you do it and you nail it every time. So what was your why? What got you started?
So I'm not gonna lie, it is exhausting. And there are days, this is no lie, I've especially holiday times, there are days between teaching and then baking, I pull 22-hour days. But as far as what got me into everything, so in high school, do you remember the show Cake Boss?
Yes, of course I do.
So I dabbled in the cake world and I just never got serious about it in high school. I just didn't have the time. I was dancing full time and doing a million things, going to college. So once I kind of got teaching underway and the sugar cookie, the decorated sugar cookies kind of became a viral thing, I was like, oh, I want to try that. So I actually tried one recipe. It was terrible. It was so bad. So anyways, the dough was super sticky. So I just kept adding flour.
Okay, wait, was it
can't even tell you.
bad? Was it bad? Oh no, it's just okay, or was it bad? Unedible bad?
It was unedible because the dough was so sticky. I just kept adding more flour until I could roll it out. And by that time, it was just way too late. So unedible. I don't even think I actually ended up baking them. And I think I quit. I think I quit for 6 months. I was like, nope, not for me.
Oh.
But I still always had that baking bug. I used to, do the cakes from the boxes and that kind of stuff. But I was still so intrigued to do everything from scratch, not even business side of it. So it was holiday time, and meanwhile, I didn't even own a rolling pin. And the whole point of these cookies is to be flat.
What?
So I took a cup from the cupboard to roll out dough. I had found a new recipe. I tweaked it a little bit so it was way less sticky, totally edible.
Okay.
And my friends were like, they're so cute, you should post them. And they were super, super simple. I didn't even know how to decorate at the time. And this is no lie, I put it on Facebook, random Facebook marketplace. And within 2 days, I had gotten 28 orders. So it just
Wow.
like became a thing.
That's a lot of orders.
I
Like,
know. I was so excited. Like, I never even intended to sell them. I never intended like a business side of it. It just like happened.
that's how you know that's meant to be, because that's literally what I told you with this podcast. Nikki asked me before we even did this. She was like, "When on earth did you decide that you were going to do a podcast?" The best things in life just happen. You
They
get that
do. They absolutely do.
you get that idea, and that's step 1, but then you put in the work and you try the recipe and you mess up the recipe. I mean, my first episode compared to my episodes now, I think I listened to it back and I'm like, "Oh god, that's so cringe." But then my current episodes I'm like so proud of, and they're what I want, and that's literally what you did. Like, when something is meant to be, it'll find you. You will want to put the work in for it. You will also have to put the work in for it, because like you said, there's some days that you're working 22 hours and that's exhausting, but
Absolutely.
it's worth it, because then things like that happen and all of a sudden you magically get 28 orders because it is that good.
Right. And obviously since then I've learned how to like manage my time a lot better and manage social media and learn how to decorate and also become just more efficient in the kitchen. Um actually, so as you know, teachers make almost nothing. And a couple years ago I ended up buying a townhouse like just myself. And if it was not for like supplemental cookie income, I would not have ever been able to buy a house. So now
Isn't
I have 2 full-time jobs just to afford to live.
isn't it crazy though that I'm not just saying this as a teacher. Teachers are the ultimate career. Like, we create the people who do the rest of the careers. If
Right.
you have a bad teacher, you'll never forget it. Like, I can tell you about a teacher I had. Obviously, I won't name her, but there was a teacher that just wanted to knock me down. Like,
Yep.
every single time. I got D's, I got E's. I mean, whatever it was, she thought I had a disability, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but she was trying to find everything she could. And then I could tell you the teachers that never would have done that. They were like, "Nope, I'm going to find whatever I can do to help her. You know what? If she does have a disability, how can I manage things to make it better for her?" And yet, teachers, for some reason, are still at the bottom of the totem pole. I
But
mean,
also too, like the experience you just shared of having the bad teacher who wants to knock you down, but then having the good teacher, like every single person who's listening, every single person you encounter in the world has that identical memory of the bad teacher versus the good teacher.
yes. And it's crazy that even as teachers, because this podcast is not meant to be about teacher struggles, but it's crazy that even as teachers, we still have to go out and find another teacher, somebody to teach us how to do the things. Like, I've been watching many people teach me how to do a podcast, and you found all the different recipes and you've taught yourself like the various ways to make the best cookie possible. So it's like, it's mind blowing to me that we have to work and bust our asses to do 2 full-time jobs to be able to afford it, but you're doing it. And I want you to tell us, though, like, what are your goals? Like, how are you feeling about all of it? Does it feel, let me give you one question at a time. Does it
Sure.
feel unrealistic in any way, shape, or form? Like, do you feel like, "Oh my god, I'm dying with all of this," or does it feel like I am actually living like a life that makes me very happy?
So it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Um, I love the idea of having tons of orders for many reasons, like obviously the financial part of it, but also I love meeting new people. I do a lot of market shows, which has kind of been like my new thing this last year. So just meeting tons of people out in person. I love hearing stories of how I'm somehow like memorable in people's families. I mean, you even mentioned it, like bringing a cookie to vacation. It's like Nikki's cookies. It's like that's a thing.
Yeah.
Um, I just had someone reach out to me to do a gender reveal order. And it's like, I get to be part of these celebrations, even though I don't know people, but I get to help them create the most extraordinary memories. Like I've seen wedding footage and like my cookies are their are there like gifts to everybody, or baby showers and birthdays or 90th birthday. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's cool on such a different level because it's like I'm there without not being there.
Oh,
It makes any sense at all.
no, I think you literally just answered that question, because no matter what you do, there is hard days, and there is days that you're like, what the hell? Of course it sucks. Like, it's like, no matter. I mean, even with this, like, I teach and then I have clients on the side and then I've got to record my podcast. Like, yeah, there's days that I'm tired.
You are also killing it. I'm also so proud of you.
But it's the whole thing of it's worth it. It's so worth it, because you literally just said it. You get to be a part of people's lives. Like, I have people that I don't even train anymore that still text me and they're like, oh my God, I just did that glute burner that you taught me that one time. Or, oh my God, I bought those shoes because I finally lost the weight. Like, you are still part of people's lives and you're impacting them, even if it's just by the memory of a cookie. And like, I'm Greek, so I very much enjoy my food.
All
And
the food.
yes. And I have so many memories around food. And you literally named it. Your cookies not only were the hit of my little beach trip that I did a few years ago, but of the wedding. Like, guys, I need to tell you how hard Nikki worked on that order, because she sent me like 3 boxes before we finally made it. And we nailed it down to the color of the pipe writing. I mean, it was like for cookies.
Right. They can get detailed.
Every single person was like, these cookies are amazing. And I think I like texted them Nikki's name like maybe like 7 times throughout the night.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Well, now, so speaking of like expansion, now I've like gotten my own stickers, the labels and the number. So now you don't have to do that at your wedding. It's just on the back now.
yes, but it's worth it. It's all worth it, because going back to that first question, I know it's worth it for you. I know it is. But I want you to go on to part of the things that how do you manage the hard? Because everybody has hard, and hard doesn't go away. Especially, I think the universe likes to do this thing where when you're in a really good swing, it's like, whoop, here's a little
All the time.
Yep, here's something to make it
all
harder.
the time.
Now you're sick. Oh, guess what? You're sick again. Uh-oh, now you have to pay off this bill. How do you manage it? Because yes, we went over all the amazing things. Your cookies are amazing. You're amazing. Everything's amazing. But life happens. What is your go-to way of, how do you manage it?
So, and I think it just depends kind of like where my season is in life in those moments. So it's especially like holiday time. I can only take so many custom orders to then balance out like big holiday market time. Which again, that's where those 22-hour days come in. And I think part of it is drive. Like, it's something that I'm so passionate about doing, but it's also that idea of I can't disappoint people. Like, if I took your order, I am making your order.
Oh.
And so this is no lie. One time, it was right before I had surgery. I had like 6 different orders I had to do. And my mom was just like, you need to focus on getting better. You need to cancel. You go into surgery. And I was like, no, like, I agreed to these orders. I took their money. I'm getting these done. And I did. And I got them done. And sure, would it have been nice to like lay on a couch? Absolutely. But it's also my name. Like, it can't just be like, well, Nikki takes the order, but then sometimes doesn't follow through. Like, I always follow through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they will be there. They will be done. They will be done on time. Like,
and they will be done well.
Oh, thank you. At least I hope so.
Oh, they are. They are. I mean, if there was a way that we could have had it set up that every person could try a cookie because you listened to this episode, I would have had it done. But you know what? We'll maybe come up with some kind of like discount or something where it's like,
oh
if you
my gosh, that would be cool. But no, we have to do that.
Order Nikki's cookies after you listen to this podcast, send us a message and we'll hook you up.
I just got an idea of like a 6 flavored box with like a discount code for listening.
Oh my God.
I love it. Look at this. We're being creative in the moment without even trying. It's perfect.
This is how you know things are meant to be.
Meant to be.
Go back to what you said about literally you made 6 orders when you were supposed to be resting before your surgery.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I know, trust me, I get it all the time. Well, and then I went into surgery so this was during COVID and I was teaching from the hospital. So
Stop it.
I did. I had 3 surgeries in 8 days. And like not all my surgery day because I was clearly medicated. But after that, I would teach in between because I didn't just want to sit in a hospital and like feel sorry for myself. So I stayed busy. I still taught my classes virtually and just rolled with it.
Do you mind if I ask what surgeries you had?
So I tore my Achilles during COVID time.
Oh.
Oh, it was by far the worst. So after my first surgery, it got infected, and long story short, I ended up having like 7 surgeries. Yeah, that's like a whole story in itself, but I didn't walk for a year. So I was literally on a scooter, like going around at the time, it was like my mom's little condo because I was living with her because I needed help.
Oh my God.
But it was so funny because like now I can laugh about it. So there was a basket on the front of the scooter, and I would like put my cutters in there that I would need, or like put my
Oh,
ingredients in the little basket and like roll over to the mixer and do what I needed to do, and then like roll over to the oven and pop them in the oven. Like again, now it's comical because I'm walking and I'm just fine. But in the moment, I was like dying inside.
and did you already start your business at this time too?
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, so COVID is truly what jump started it. There was
okay.
this huge push of, shop small, shop local, support local, Facebook businesses. And so I think also obviously pair it with being a teacher, and everyone knew how hard online education is. It was like, we're supporting a small female owned business who's also a teacher. Like I hit the trifecta there.
Yes, you did.
But with all businesses closed, people couldn't, go to their local bakery and order a cake. They couldn't just, run to Panera and grab bagels or cupcakes or whatever. So they had to plan ahead of time. It had to be local. It had to be someone out of their house because nothing else was open.
No, and you know what? I think that's how I found you because you did cookies for my friend's bridal shower that I went to, and I was like, "Holy cow, I want her cookies." And she
I
was like,
think it was.
"Yeah," and she was like, "Well, where do you live?" And Nikki was the only one who was open. And when I had her cookies too, I was like, "Holy cow."
And I
And
was local, so it was nice and close.
so close. But I mean, do you make cookies for people who aren't local too?
So I do. I've actually had friends who have moved out. I think the furthest I've ever shipped was Colorado. And I'll be honest, shipping is still kind of like a work in progress. Obviously, cookies are not the strongest durable item. So they take tons of packaging, which of course then like weighs down the package. So shipping just costs so much.
Mhm.
But hopefully in time, that's one of my things to work on, is being able to ship hopefully nationwide. That'd be awesome. Um, and just make progress in that side of things so that it can reach more people.
Oh my gosh. I hope to anybody who is listening to this, you can hear in Nikki's voice just like how passionate she is about this, how meant to be this is for her. And it's just like one of those things where if you have a dream and you have a passion inside of you, you have a fire that is lit, you have to go after it and work hard on it. I mean, maybe you don't need to be doing it when you're on a scooter, but it just shows the determination and the effort behind it and the fact that she found a way. And she was like, "You know what? I could sit here in this hospital bed and be sorry for myself, or I could log on my computer. I could work. I can make some orders and I can make it happen because yes, you need to rest and yes, you need to listen to your body, but you also need to do something for yourself every day that's working towards the things that matter the most to you." And I think you are the perfect example of that. I think it's funny, of course, and it's comical. Like you were on a scooter, like making cookies, but you made the cookies. I mean, you still did it and you still healed and you still recovered. And it's not like you did anything unsafe, because it's also totally detrimental, at least to your mental health. And I know this from personal experience, when you just sit around and do nothing.
Absolutely. I would rather stay busy and be a little stressed because I'm busy than to just sit around and scroll on my phone for days and weeks at a time.
I mean, and this is literally called the Busy Life Podcast. So you are the epitome of finding ways to be healthy busy, because there is such thing as unhealthy busy. And like you said, like when you want to please people, you want to make their order the way that you want to make it. You want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth. You don't want to just be that person who is like, oh, I took your money and I'll get to your cookies whenever. Like, you keep your word, which is super, super important. And I think that's what makes you successful too, because you're reliable.
Well, even the idea that you mentioned about um like a healthy kind of busy, because I've been in that unhealthy state of busy where I was teaching multiple preps, I was changing classrooms at school, I was coaching, I was moving out of the house back into my mom's house, trying to start this business. I was in grad school, trying to get a 4.0, trying to keep a scholarship. Like, I've definitely been at that level where it is completely unhealthy. And I know you had kind of asked me earlier, like, how do you manage? And I did. I had to choose. I had to give up things that I liked and not liked for things that I loved. So that's truly why I feel like 50% of my life is teaching, 45% is baking, and 5% is like friends, family, work out, like play with my dog, like the fun stuff in life.
Yeah, but those are just as important. And it's about prioritizing and reaching your goals and doing the things that you need to do. And yeah, teaching is, gosh, it's just so, it's a whole different level of exhaustion. If you are not a teacher and you're listening to this and you're like, what are you guys talking about? Don't worry. We have a teacher episode coming. I'll have Nikki come back on that episode as well, because
Yes, please.
that one is going to be what you need to hear if you are not a teacher. I do have a teacher episode out now that you guys can go to. I'll link it there. We're also going to be linking Nikki's website and everything that you guys need to know about Nikki's cookies as well. But seriously, if you know a teacher, please give them a hug. Give them a big hug, because it is a hard job to balance. And I know there's many other jobs out there that are super hard to balance as well. So it just takes me right back to my point of the fact that you you're doing it. You're doing the thing and you're learning, like, okay, there is times when I need to stop because there was an unhealthy level of being too busy, but there's also times when I need to grind and I need to get my work done because this is important to me. And like with the words you said, these are the things I love. And that's important too.
Right. Well, and also too, I feel like you talked me up so much, like to give you so much credit. I mean, again, with teaching, but then you were also planning a wedding and you were a fitness coach and a nutrition coach and starting your own podcast. Like, you're also the one crushing the game here.
But I also hit that unhealthy level of busy, and that's when I finally cracked. And I've talked about on this podcast so many times, I think you kind of have to crack, unfortunately. And you shouldn't have to, though. I want to change the wording of that. You shouldn't have to crack, unfortunately, though people do, because they think they can do it all. They think they're superwoman. They think they're superman. They think they can do it. And then you hit this point where you're like, wait a minute, this is too much. This isn't healthy. I'm tired all the time, or I'm getting sick all the time, or whatever it is. And I'm just so proud that you found that balance, because it's not an easy thing to do and it's a different act every day. Like the balance of what I did yesterday compared to what I'm doing today, compared to what my next week will look like, it changes all the time. So it's important to be able to like level yourself out. And I just love what you said, and like find the things you love and go after those things, because those are the things that fuel your fire rather than keep depleting it. And I too had to find the things that were totally exhausting to me. And unfortunately, some of it was the things that made me money. And I had to put those things on the side and just say, you know what, Julie, like if that's not something you love anymore, that's not something you need to be doing right now. and it sucks. But now we're in a new place where I am mentally happier, healthier. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm the richest I've ever been, but it's not even about that. It's like what makes you feel so good.
You're
So
rich in happiness.
yes, yes.
And that is worth so much more than financial stability sometimes.
Honestly, 100%. Now, I'm not trying to say like I'm poor or anything like that. Like
No.
I'm fine. But at the same time, it was crazy because all I thought about during my unhealthy busy stage was how nice it was to have all that money. And it was like, Julie, this isn't about that. Like, because I was a workaholic. I worked. And I lost friends because of that. I gained a lot of weight because of that. Like my body, my life just was not itself. And I knew it. And it all worked out for the best though, because now I love myself so much more. I'm in such a better place than I was before. But it's crazy because it's like what you said. I had to experience the unhealthy busy to be able to learn how to manage and prioritize the busy that I actually want to be living.
Right. And I hope the people who are listening are like thinking about the stuff in their life and they're just kind of like, what can I give up? Or, what can I add to make me happier? Or like, how happy am I really? Is it money? Is it friends? Is it like whatever it is? I hope people are like self-reflecting right now for themselves.
I hope so too. And that's honestly what my hope is for every episode here is I hope that people hear this and sometimes they realize it's not what else can I be doing? Sometimes it's what can I take away? And
All the
what I
time.
said this year, my motto is do more with less. So I've been saying no to more things and I've been saying no thanks or I've been canceling more things because it's just like, you know what? I want to just be and just be in the moment. And it's not about all the hustle and all the money you can make and all the side jobs you can have. It's about the ones that are important to me. It's about the people that are important to me. And then it's about my time that I can't get back. So how can I make my life what I love and how can I make it work so I don't hit an unhealthy level of busy?
I'm just so happy you brought up the idea of saying no. And this is no lie. And we haven't even talked about this. I have told my boyfriend my resolution this year is to say no more often. And I had a friend say to me, they're like, it's not a work-life balance. It is a life-work balance. So every time I catch myself saying work-life, I'm like, no, life, work. You got to
Life.
put life first.
Oh my God. What a revelation. I mean, literally. And I've gotten pretty deep on this podcast before where I will talk about the hard stuff that people don't want to hear. And it's that when I think back to the year 2020, 2021, and 2022, all I think of was how often I worked. I
Yeah.
didn't do anything other than work. And it's crazy because I don't remember anything fun I did. I mean, yes, I got engaged. And yes, I can tell you some of the fun things I did. But when I think of those years, the first thing I see is myself in my various work clothes. And
Right.
that's so crazy because you're working, you're not living.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I
Uh,
think just like as a society, I don't like that's not the American dream by any means, but for anyone who's had the opportunity to travel, especially to European countries, they are so not about work. And it's such a different lifestyle where they take these 2 and 3 hour lunches or they shut down and like take naps during the day. And it's just so different. So
okay.
different.
So
That's right.
actually,
And you're Greek. You know all about this.
you know what? Moral, I'm still fighting a cold. Moral of the story is we're just going to all move to Europe. And take Nikki's cookies. We're going to take our life work balance and we're going to move to Europe. How does that sound?
I need to find some like Italian grandma to teach me how to make pasta from scratch.
Okay. So you just led me into my final question for you, which is where do you see yourself now? Speaking of all the life work balance, speaking of how much you have finally found ways to manage, do what you love, but still be successful. Now what?
I think that is something I honestly ask myself all the time. People are constantly telling me, like, go full time with cookies, like, you could totally do it, have a storefront. And while all of that sounds so lovely and so great and work for myself, I obviously love the stability of my teaching job and that, like, every 2-week paycheck that I know that I'm definitely going to get. It doesn't rely on orders. It also just has to be something that I'm fully dedicated to. So I love the idea of scaling a business. I know we talked about shipping cookies and doing more markets and meeting new people, and I love all of that side of it. But at the end of the day, like, I've always wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher since I was like 4 years old.
Mhm.
And I don't think I could ever choose one or the other. It's just continuously shifting that percentage balance so that I get to have both.
You know what, though? I 100% respect that because I love all the titles that I have behind my name. I love each one of them equally. I love being able to say I'm a personal trainer. I love being able to say I'm a special ed teacher. I love being able to say I'm a nutrition coach. And I don't want to live a life where I have to pick one.
Right.
It's as simple as that. Like, I want to be able to say, I am all these things because I earned all of those things. And I 100% get what you're saying about adjusting the balance and needing that stable paycheck. I mean, let's be real. We live in 2024 where not everything is cheap. Groceries are getting more and more expensive by the day. I
Oh,
mean,
I know that when I buy ingredients.
yeah, yeah. So it's very smart of you, in my opinion, as a businesswoman as well, to be able to say, you know what, that is the right thing you're doing. You're doing it all. I would never want you to have to pick just one. And that's very that's just very wise to not just say like, you know what, I'm going to do this with no money at all, nothing there, and get kicked out of my house. And there are people who say, you know what, if I want this to be my dream, I do need to stop. And kudos to those people who have just dropped everything and made it happen. I'm not saying you can't do that because
Right.
there's many success stories like that as well. But I get exactly where you're coming from. And I personally would not want to feel like I wouldn't want more stress of now, how am I going to be able to survive while I'm trying to make a new career? I would want it to be something gradual, something natural, organic. That's kind of like how I feel with just a lot of things in life. There's no point in just dropping it and starting over. It's just, how can I make this work today? And if that means keeping your teaching career, if that means maybe going part time with teaching one day, just so that you know that you have the teaching background in you, but you don't know where it's going to go, the life work balance will adjust and ebb and flow as it needs to. And I don't think you need to just drop your one job right now.
No. Oh my, this is gonna sound so lame, but I almost said these words and it made me think of Hannah Montana, like the best of both
But
worlds.
it is. It is. It is absolutely the best of both worlds because you are living two jobs that fulfill your life. And like you said, it's not even about the money. You love teaching and you love baking and you are doing the things you love. And that is all that matters.
I think some of the coolest things. So, I definitely like don't really bring up my cookie business or anything with my students, but have run into students when I've done these markets and they like do a double take and they're like, wait, this is like, yeah, this is like my side hobby. Like, you're allowed to have a full-time job and still have side hobbies too. So I hope it stays with them, so when they get old enough and they pick a job, they still also have a hobby, whether it's baking or fitness or nutrition or literally anything else.
Absolutely. Because you know what? the funniest thing was when a few of our fifth grade students found me on TikTok, like in my workout clothes and working out. They were like,
Like, who are you?
workout? I'm sorry. Do you have like thousands of people that follow you and like your stuff? And I was like, I do. Yeah, I do. And it's like this
You're
secret,
like, I'm pretty cool, whether you think so or not.
it's like this secret identity. And they're like, wait, like, can I can I follow you? And I'm like, you know what? Yes, you can. Because I want you to see my content and I want you to also feel empowered by that. And if you don't want to, you also don't have to. But it's so funny when your students see that side of you. And I remember one girl came up to me and was like, oh my God, like, she was like, were you at the gym this morning? Like, I was. And she was like, aren't you tired?
Like, yes, I am.
I was like, but the gym wakes me up. It makes me feel good. And she was like, oh, wow. Like this fifth grader who can see that a woman can work just as hard as anybody else, but also a person can stand up for themselves and say, you know what? I'm going to take control of my day and I'm going to go to the gym. Or, you know what? I'm going to go after the things I love and I'm going to go to this market and sell my cookies because I can teach and do the things that I love.
Right. And I
Oh,
know it's different too on the teaching aspect. Like I know you teach, really young elementary school kids where I'm teaching middle school and a lot of my students now are, oh my gosh, I sound so old. They're like in their first and second year in college. So I've had old students like get graduation cookies and stuff from me, or the idea of them following me on social media, and they'll like eventually reach out and be like, hey, like, so glad to see you're doing well. Like, here's going on with my life. So I get to keep up with so many students because of the social media following, where I'm literally just posting cookies. It's nothing about me or my personal life. They literally just like enjoy watching cookie content.
stop it.
I know,
That
they're so cute. I freaking love my students. They're the best.
See, that is the full circle moment. And that is how you know that you are not only impacting people with their weddings and baby showers and graduations, but even your own students.
Oh my gosh, I love her. One of my old students, so she's in college right now, so I don't know if she's doing it. She started like chocolate covered strawberry business. And I was like, you go, girl. Like, yes. And I was like, I started baking business like my mid to late 20s. Like, you're starting when you're like 17. Like, you go. So,
My
yeah, it's really cute.
God.
I like watching their success too. I feel like a proud mom.
You really, really do. When I get emails from my students that like are in middle school, oh my God, maybe even high school now, it's just so sweet. And they're like, oh my God, do you remember me? You were my second grade teacher. I'm like,
Speaking of the gym, I've actually run into some of my students at the gym and they're like, I bet you don't remember my name. And I will. Like,
nope,
for
I
the
do.
most part, I would say I actually have a pretty good memory of like face to names, like, especially once I've taught you. And they're like blown away. They like can't believe that I know who they
Oh
are.
my God. I love that so much. This is why I really feel like the theme around this is just do what you love, find a way to make it work, find the balance behind it. Because the minute it becomes too much, you stop loving it. But really go after the things that you love because then you get these amazing stories like this and you're impacting so many lives, even if you don't realize it. But that is that's so cool.
They are. They're such awesome people. And again, I just love seeing them grow and fulfill their dreams.
Absolutely. Nikki, you're the best.
No, oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This has been so cool. Literally, last thing, we talked about resolutions and saying no more often. On my bucket list for this year was to be on a podcast, and I crushed that by January, like middle of January. So thank you.
Oh my God, of course. Well, we're going to have to come back because we love you so much. We're going to set up something, guys. We promise. We're going to set up something so that you can try Nikki's cookies because they are absolutely amazing.
Yes, and don't forget the discount code. We'll have to figure out what that is.
Figure that out. Don't you worry. Stay tuned. But I hope you guys have an amazing
Julie
day.
10 sounds pretty good, like 10%
Oh,
off.
yes. Yes. I love that. Stay tuned, you guys, for that. That discount code is coming. The cookies are amazing. Remember, go after the things that you love. Give this episode some love. We appreciate you guys so much, and we can't wait to talk to you next time. Nikki, thank you so much for being on here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you to everyone who listened.
Yay! Have a great day, guys.
Bye.